Really quite warm sums it up. As I said, there will be this breeze picking up initially on the south coast, Devon and Cornwall, getting quite gusty in the southwest at times, but elsewhere the wind's fairly light. Could be some early morning mist, but generally a sunnier day compared to today for Northern Ireland and much of southern and western Scotland. Still some thick cloud across Shetland, a little bit damp and drizzly here, particularly so in the morning, but even here I suspect that rain and drizzle will tend to fizzle through the day. Lots of sunshine then elsewhere, and with the help of that sunshine getting stronger and stronger, of course, at this time of year, we'll see those temperatures ticking up. A warmer feeling day, particularly where it's sunnier for Scotland and Northern Ireland, but quite widely will be over 20 degrees Celsius, and through central and eastern parts of England, southern Wales, into the mid-20s, perhaps 25 or 26 in and around the London area. Wednesday could be warmer still. Again, a bit of a breeze blowing through the channel, bit of cloud maybe across Shetland, but not as thick as tomorrow's. Should be a dry day pretty much everywhere, and warmer still, with light winds feeling really warm as well for the last day of April, 26, 27. Warmer again across the south on Thursday.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be driving away with this brand new Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. It comfortably sleeps 4, comes with sky roof, integrated kitchen and bathroom, and is worth over £67,000. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that wherever this motorhome takes you, it takes you there in style. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
It's a good point. He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's 11 o'clock. That means it is time for tomorrow's newspapers. Tonight, join us over the next hour to find out why net zero is not as sin populares in Espanol. OK, that's pretty good. Right, why sportswomen are freezing their eggs and why kids' birthday parties could bankrupt me. I'm Josh Howie. Tonight, I am joined by the comedians Lewis Schaefer and Aideen McQueen. This is Headliners. now, before the very best of tomorrow's news, let's go to tonight's headlines with Sophia Wensler.
Josh, thank you. Your headlines at 11 o'clock. A state of emergency has been declared as panic buying sweeps through Spain and Portugal after nationwide blackouts paralysed both countries, shutting down transport networks and prompting people to clear supermarket shelves amid fears the chaos could last for days. And as the sun set on Spain, the Interior Ministry said it's deploying 30,000 police officers to maintain security. The Spanish Prime Minister says the cause is still being investigated, while Portugal's grid operator claimed a rare atmospheric phenomenon caused the cuts. Meanwhile, some staff at a hotel in Spain have been spotted with their own inventive way of getting through the power cut. They've been pictured using a barbecue to cook while the electricity is down. More than 30% of Spain's power demand has now been restored. Its national operator has confirmed, while Portugal's acting Prime Minister has said power will be restored within hours. Sex offenders are to be banned from gaining asylum in the UK under a new law announced by the Home Secretary. The Telegraph newspaper is reporting that ministers will receive powers to exclude any foreigners convicted of sex offences in the UK or abroad from protection under the Refugee Convention, even if their sentence is less than 12 months. It means that the Home Office will be able to deport the offenders through legislation that puts them on a par with terrorists, war criminals and other serious offenders who pose a danger to the community. Now, the number of migrants crossing the Channel in small boats has now passed 10,000 this year, weeks earlier than last year. It's a blow to Sir Keir Starmer's pledge to smash the gangs. 450 migrants in 8 small boats made the crossing today, taking the total for the year so far to more than 10,300. The Prime Minister's spokesman said there are no quick fixes to illegal migration. We were left with a broken asylum system. Elsewhere, trade talks between the UK and United States are moving in a very positive way, according to the White House. President Donald Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, spoke about the likelihood of the long-discussed agreement during a press briefing today. In Westminster, there are hopes such a deal could soften the impact of the Trump tariffs announced last month. And Donald Trump has demanded a permanent ceasefire in Ukraine after Vladimir Putin announced a 3-day pause in fighting ahead of Russia's Victory Day celebrations next week. The ceasefire will run from midnight on the 7th of May to midnight on the 10th of May, with Russian forces told to halt all military action. But Moscow has warned it will respond if Ukraine breaches the truce. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now it's time for Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello, welcome to Headliners. We're going to give you the very best of tomorrow's newspapers with the best of today's comedians. First things first, we're going to have a look at the front pages. The Metro, pain as Spain mainly off the mains. I think I said that right. The Eye, Spain and Portugal thrown into chaos after rare weather event leads to mass blackouts. The Sun, no beer in Benidorm. The Daily Mail, now Labour is facing a summer of discontent. The Times, milkshake tax looms in broader sugar levy. And The Star, bad holes vibes. Welcome to you two. Hello, Lewis.
Hello there,
Aideen.
Josh. How are you doing?
Very well. Lovely to see you both. Both looking wonderful. You have a nice weekend?
Was that... it was just the weekend.
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
OK.
That's how you know you're old. You don't remember it, because you've done nothing.
Or you had a good time.
No.
Yeah,
no.
older alcoholics, it's either, or both.
Yeah, these are the two things. Well, Lewis, let's start with The Guardian.
Oh, with The Guardian, good news. It's The Guardian. Spain declares state of emergency after power blackout causes chaos. I mean, it's not a surprise. We run on electricity, but this is something that's quite large. It's all of Spain, and it's all of Portugal, and some of France. I don't know how they have such a huge... We're going to find out later why they have such a...
It's exciting.
It is exciting. I remember the 1965 blackout in New York. I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
No, I don't look that
You
old.
lost your virginity in that night.
I did for blackouts. And it was one in 1977, but I wasn't in the country. in
So you can't claim responsibility.
I don't remember what it is, but it's big news.
It's big news, yeah. Aideen, what do you think about this? Is this the future for all of us in the world?
Well, I remember blackouts as well in Ireland in the 90s, and they were.
That's because electricity hadn't made it. Sorry.
That's just trying it out.
Stupid.
Listen, we got electricity in the 80s.
Okay.
So, no, actually, that's serious for my small town. But there was. Yeah, this is obviously a warning that we're going to have to do something, that we're going to have to be really careful about managing electricity. Now, I mean, some people are claiming that this is a result of net zero, but I mean, it might be contributed by it, but there needs to be a backup plan. It's going to happen again. I can imagine it might happen in England.
Well, yes. Fortunately, we're not going to have a concern with sort of air conditioners. the things that they've got, sort of the problems they've got there, lots of people
I don't think it's
coming into the country.
not that hot in Spain this week.
You don't think it's the same?
No, I heard it was
be
like
worse.
21 degrees. It was 27 degrees here today.
There's a story at the bottom about Whitehall pushing for open at Trump's Turnberry.
Well, that's good news. It's Donald Trump. He owns Turnberry's.
This is not Emily Thornberry.
No,
oh, that's different. That's one of our ministers.
Trump might own her too. Anyway, he basically asked Starmer. He said, "Hey, can we get the British Open, which is a golf tournament, at Turnberry because it hasn't been at Turnberry for a number of years."
Things just open.
It seems like a complete conflict of interest, though, and something that they have a lot to be going on with tariffs and stuff. And they're, by the way, can I play golf in your place? It's the ultimate boys' club here we're talking about.
But boys and girls, but they love. He loves golf, and we are desperate to suck up to Trump. I think this is brilliant. Let's give it to you.
Give him the golf.
What's the harm?
What is the harm? Basically, it reveals that Starmer is a weasel and a weakling.
Yeah, but we're all weasels and weaklings. We're all going to do whatever the most powerful person
The Prime
asks.
Minister should at least pretend to be, to stand for something. Britain used to be a great country.
Well, I think we still are a great country, and we're a great country because we have great golf courses that he wants to have the golf open.
He owns it. He's doing it for the money. He doesn't care.
Who cares? I say give it to the dude. Right, and also we have a pretty big story here about sex offenders, Lewis. Are you scared?
Well, I saw. This is ridiculous. Foreign nationals convicted of sexual offences will be banned from claiming asylum.
So you wouldn't get in this time?
Well, why is this news? Is this news? If you've committed a big crime, that's one of the big crimes, it's not murder, but it's a big crime, you shouldn't be allowed to claim asylum.
I know, it's insane that we have a system where that's not already written in.
That it's in the newspaper, that they have to make a law about it. That's what's wrong about this country. It's like they're always saying, we need to pass a law. No, just say you're not doing it.
Well, I think that they write the law and then they don't do it, but the fact that it hasn't been on the statute is not a great sign, and it's indicative of how our system's broken, isn't it, Aideen?
Yeah,
well,
I was shocked to see that this is just coming now. I would have assumed that was a basic in the law already. To me, it is almost like saying, child murder is not allowed in. New idea. It should have been there for years ago. But it's good that it's here now.
Well, it's good that they're talking about it, but the fact that they're only really talking about it because of the threat that they see coming up in elections from the right of them is sad that it takes, rather than just using common sense.
They are exactly like the way the Tories were. We're stopping the boats, and nobody came. And this is their way of saying, look, we're trying to stop everything. We can't help, but, we're actually trying.
Hey, we're trying. Sex offenders, please don't come to the UK. What's going on in the Daily Mail then, Aideen?
So now Labour is facing a summer of discontent. Nurses, teachers and council staff issue strike threats as Tories say reuse is soft on unions. So basically, they're not going to be getting a pay rise, and there's a worry about strikes happening. Now, summer of discontent, as a teacher, we're always on strike in the summer anyway. It's called the holidays, so it doesn't really count.
Yeah.
But an interesting story. Of course, teachers and nurses will really affect people when they go on strike because you have nowhere to put your kids. You're not getting seen to. But personally, we must be headed towards recession now. Doesn't everyone just have to kind of toe in and accept the fact that there isn't a giant money tree?
The government just gave nurses and I think deservedly so, teachers, a 5.5% pay rise when they came into power.
Yeah.
That's upon the recommendations. Now the recommendations are higher than what the government have allocated for them. So it's not that they're necessarily not going to get this pay rise. It's more that the government is saying we're not going to provide any extra money for it. So those services are going to have to be cut at the front line to give these teachers and nurses the pay rise. What do you think about that, Lewis? Do you think that's fair enough?
I think it's just another sign about the country. Why should the federal biggest power in the country have something to say about giving schools pay rises?
Because they allocate.
Yeah, they allocate. Of course, they allocate it, and that's the problem. They allocate for the nurses, for the teachers, for the doctors.
And the picks.
And the picks. It's like they allocate too much. We have to take away the power. Oh, no, we don't have to take
No, I was surprised because in Ireland, when I was a teacher, as I'm always drawing my teaching experience.
Start drinking at home, everybody. She mentioned it.
I'll take off my glasses for
Soon
this
it's going to be the alcoholic thing. Ex-alcoholic.
The Department of Education centralised Marlborough Street in Dublin, paid all the teachers, and you got your increments over time by just clocking in. In England, it was completely different. The school was given a budget, and there was a school manager who allocated that. So you had a choice between, I'll get a new special needs teacher or I'll get 20 iPads for the school. So there is a lot more autonomy than you think, and schools were their own mini businesses. So it did push out teachers at the top of the end with the pay scale, but they had more autonomy than you think. So it is, I think that is fair enough. I think teachers should be made comfortable and given as much as they can, and you can sacrifice in other parts of the school. Do we really need to do like the Gymboree class or the pottery through modern dance? No.
Lewis just wants to give everyone iPads, don't you, Lewis?
Well, I'd like to have an iPad, but I don't think the government should give people an iPad. You're so smart, Aideen. And you should be a teacher.
Look at this, he's so nice. I've never seen him be this nice. He's not as nice to anybody else.
I'm nice to everybody except you, Josh.
No, but you're why are you so nice to Aideen and not anybody?
Because I've known her for very long, and I actually love her. And she doesn't need to know that. But the point is, I love her less because she praises teachers and she praises nurses and council staff. We can do without the government.
No, I don't praise council staff.
Schools and let people educate their own children.
So is your perfect woman somebody who just sort of condemns teachers and nurses?
Yes, you know what? It would make it so much easier rather than the women that I've gone out with in the past
who love nurses,
who've taken they don't like what.
The ironic thing is, of course, that when they go out with you, they become a nurse.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next story.
Funny.
Thank you very much. I know, Lewis. Telegraph now, and I'm guessing this is one way of having diversity in the army.
Oh, story 3. Well, this is another bit of insanity. I'm getting really negative. Whenever I'm with you, Josh, I'm so negative.
No, you're not. You're always positive.
Okay, I'll be positive. This is new Gurkha artillery unit created amid Army manpower crisis, and which is that basically they need some men. They need men to go to fight in the Ukraine because they promised that they would send men. But the truth is that
we've got no men.
We got no men. And the men in this country, I mean the real men, the Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes, the Picts, the people who've been here for more than a year and a half.
The Jews.
The people who care about the country don't want to go to the Ukraine. So this is what because there's this fancifulness about the Gurkhas. They fought with us and
we love the Gurkhas. They've from Nepal. They've been a huge part of the British Army over a couple hundred years now. I think that this is it's sad that, Aideen, that we're having to turn it through necessity to the Gurkhas to fill up gaps within our army, isn't it?
It's interesting. Is there the decline in army numbers? Why is that?
We haven't been able to recruit anybody because arguably masculinity. It's like that patriotism's on the decline. Masculinity has been condemned for seemingly generations now.
World, the sissification of Britain, and they don't want to be a part of it. We gotta go. Like in America, they're joining the army in record numbers.
Are they?
Yeah, yes,
that's true. Yeah,
they are because they've got a leader who is leading them. His name is Donald Trump, and that's maybe when this country gets a leader who will lead them, they will join the army again.
Is it not a respected position in the UK to be in the army?
No, how can it be respected when you're asked to do horrible things because of Keir Starmer and those people and that fat bloated guy? What's his name?
Okay,
Boris Johnson.
We are going to have a little break now. Lewis is going to come back in a moment.
Worst show ever.
I think this is you're very cogent tonight. On Sundays we have Free Speech Nation, a fantastic show about free speech. Come and join us in the audience. Scan the QR code, visit gbnews.com/tickets. It's Sundays, 7 to 9 p.m. We had a cracking show last night. It'd be lovely to see you next week. Coming up, we're going to have a look at the front page of The Telegraph. The Telegraph always delivers. And we also have this story here. Muslim charity accuses prison officers of Islamophobia after jihadist attack. I wonder which side we're all going to be coming down on that one.
Yeah.
See you in a couple of minutes.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
The great thing is that this is going to be the perfect summer to stay in the UK. A couple of reasons for that. The first one is, well, yeah, you can't do much about the weather, but what you can do is save an absolute fortune. I've been looking at, for instance, all the tourist attractions around Europe. The prices are going through the roof. You want to go and see some beautiful pictures in the Prado in Madrid, that's going to cost you over 30 quid. And yet, here in the UK, all our big cultural attractions are free. And furthermore, you will be doing the country a favour because the best thing you can possibly do is spend money here, create jobs, pay taxes and make things just a little bit better than they are now.
So, Joe, does that convince you to take a staycation this year?
Well, my staycation will be here in Tenerife for sure. I want the guaranteed sunshine and I want the cleaner air. And the cheap places to eat. I mean, Simon was talking about the costs, but in Tenerife, you go into the mountains and the hillside areas, you can still get a 3-course meal for under 20 euros, very good quality. There's arguments, obviously, for both sides, but I think for most people, it's just that guaranteed dose of sunshine that people are looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to get away from that, Simon, isn't it? That we do want the weather.
Yeah, but we just got to recalibrate, honestly. And tell you what, there's going to be an awful lot of people who are going to be travelling to Tenerife, other places, particularly around the Mediterranean, this coming Easter, because they've literally been scorched over the past couple of years in July and in particular August. Very, very high temperatures. Brits have had enough of too much sunshine.
GB News, the People's Channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. We're going to kick into the next front page, which is the Telegraph, Lewis.
Telegraph, which is £3.50 tomorrow. It's very expensive. It's expensive.
It's worth it. It's a lot of news.
It's a lot of news. If it probably lies.
No, I think. Well, let's find out. What's the first story? Is that
I don't know what it is. I just like the first story. I mean, net zero blamed for blackout chaos. I mean, Nadine touched on this before because she's a teacher and she knows all of this. She's very knowledgeable.
What was that sound?
That sound was like me appreciating Nadine.
That was a pervy sound there.
But that's a form of
now you're moving away.
She didn't take it.
Hey, Dean, how do you feel about that?
It was a good bit of old-fashioned ribaldry.
Okay, fair enough.
Absolutely fine.
No, Your Honour, I did not do that. It was ribaldry.
The cut and thrust of the newsroom with these two young bucks. Mm-hmm.
And so, we young bucks. Thank you very much.
Yeah, young in spirit. Yeah.
The sexual tension is palpable.
I know. I love Nadine. I love Cressida too. I don't want Cressida to get.
Oh my God. Do you think she's running back into the office now to confront you?
She could. You don't understand women. They can hate you completely, but if you don't love them, they get angry.
Yes, we do. We have no reason or rhyme at all. We're but balls of estrogen ready to burst in your face at any occasion. Okay.
Okay.
It's getting a bit heated in here.
No, exactly. I'll put my head
Okay,
down.
just read the story, Lewis.
If only we had this to power Spain, they wouldn't have gone. There wouldn't be a blackout.
No, they wouldn't.
We
They
had
would've
this
had-
chemistry.
I wouldn't say it's chemistry when I have
intimidation.
No, I have chemistry. It's a dead circuit.
Well, Lewis, what do you think that go back to the story now?
Yeah.
Do you think that net zero? The reason they're saying this is because Spain used to be a predominantly nuclear power and various other power stations. Now it's about over 50%. Renewables, and the problem with renewables, of course, there are many benefits to them, but they are unreliable, and that seems to be. It's very easy for the system to kind of cascade and break down, and that seems to be what they're suggesting. That hasn't been proven unilaterally yet, but that's what some people are suggesting.
Well, you have to maybe. It's also a chance for the Daily Telegraph to blame net zero.
Yes,
this is the only one where it's on.
£3.50.
£3.50, because net zero is evil. It's basically the destruction of Europe.
But why do you think, Lewis, that people in their good consciousness want net zero if it's evil?
Because they hate white people.
I believe a bit of an oversimplification there.
They hate Europeans.
You've missed out a few steps there.
They want us to give money to those horrible countries.
Well, I don't think
South and West.
Well, I think we're mixing up a bunch of different issues here. But I guess the idea would be that we love the planet. The question, of course,
no, that's a lie that they use.
Okay, well, the question would be whether net zero is the best path to
There's a path to net zero, to take it in increments. I mean, for the Irish government's green policy last time was all renewable wind and wind energy mostly, and solar. I mean, solar in Ireland, good luck. Yeah. But green hydrogen, that's a stepping stone towards net zero. That was pretty much ignored. Now they're saying, and a lot of news sources are saying, oh, we should look more at green hydrogen. And personally, nuclear power, when safely operated, would solve an awful lot of problems
that's
for
what
us.
they're talking about now. Of course, the problem is it's 15 years or so to really start implementing these, and they've left it very late.
Or the power of Lewis.
Can you trust Ireland? I think Ireland has lost all respect in the world, the way they're treating the immigrant people, the way they're treating the native, the
immigrant people,
the Irish people.
That's right. You've sort of conflicted there within 2 seconds. Then the immigrant people, or do you mean the indigenous people?
How they're letting a billion immigrant people in? How the local Irish people? I'm not Irish.
We've let a billion people
who's
in.
Who's going to fight for Ireland? So you can't trust them with net zero. The whole net zero.
I don't even know how we got this about Spain.
Because she's saying how wonderful Ireland is.
No, I didn't say that, Lewis. I didn't say that. I said that they went too heavy on solar and wind only, and there's other stepping stones towards net zero that we should welcome, because it's unrealistic to say net zero is like to say perfection
Let's
now.
get off net zero, because we'll be talking about this for the next 20 years.
Schaefer is against net zero, period. So we shouldn't have any steps.
That's the next of his. That's the name of his next Edinburgh show. I like this picture of Meghan up here having a little. Now, is she crying, or can we? If we can see the photo again, we can have a little look to see. She's doing a strange hand gesture. Now, it might be a crying thing, or is it some LA religion?
Yes, it's a V for
sort of, or
vendetta.
I like Star Trek.
Yes, she's doing.
Do you think it's a Star? I think
a sign of
Star
Pan
Trek.
backwards.
E.T. Phone Home. Something. It's very. Yes. What do you think? It's hard to do, isn't it, Lewis?
It's like this. I can do it.
You could do it. So, or she's being emotional there.
It's hot girl crying. So hot girl crying. You have your nails, and but you also want to wipe the tears without disturbing your very subtle makeup. So this is hot girl crying. It's up there with hot girl clapping, which is
Lewis, can you do
boobs.
Ugly old man crying, please? Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was good. No, my wife taught me how to. My ex-wife taught me how to cry.
You're not intentionally. There's a Mirror story down here, not Mirror newspaper. Starmer and EU to sign an anti-Trump pact. So whilst we're letting Trump get his golf competition here, Starmer is also siding with the EU, that balance we've seen, Aideen, of that we're trying to have both sides.
He's doing very well, isn't he? This is the kind of stuff Irish people do, where we suck up to the Americans all the time, but simultaneously stab them in the back. Yeah, take all their foreign national. Yeah. So yeah, he's doing what any Irish politician would do, a gombeen man, as we call it in Ireland. A
gombeen.
A Schlieveen, yeah.
Oh wow, I'm learning new stuff here.
There you go.
Okay, cool.
It's the message from this whole thing is that Brexit is over.
Well, it is. Hopefully, it is over. Yeah,
I'd love it to be
about
over.
it for 8 years.
We want Brexit to keep, and the people.
Well,
want
I think we
Brexit
could still be allied with the EU. They still serve our interests to be in partnership with them to some level.
They are the number one enemy of this country.
Okay.
Well, America has only attacked Britain once, and I think it was Whitehaven in 1780. The fact is,
you've got to get over that 1780 thing, Lewis. I know you were there, but the rest of us have moved on.
The Germans are coming back, the Russians are coming.
No, the Germans can't come back. They can't even empower their. So they don't have anything to come back with. Let's go on to the iPaper quickly, please. AD.
So Spain and Portugal thrown into chaos after rare weather events leads to mass blackouts.
So they're not blaming net zero, interestingly.
No, they're
not. It's a rare weather event.
It's a rare weather event. Yeah, they said rare weather events. Now, that is as vague as anything, isn't it? That's like saying it's the tides or the moon. But... again, we don't really know yet, but it can't have helped that much that there's such changes in our power sources lately. Farage open to Conservative pact, but warns of tough terms. Reform leader makes clear price of new coalitions at local level.
iNews is sort of claims to be somewhat independent-ish, but then they've got here, Trump 100 days, descent into fascism is worse than we could have predicted, which is a somewhat ridiculous...
somewhat ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous.
Well, okay, but
there's elements of fascism sliding in. I mean, people finding it difficult to get into the country, students, anybody who's written
country has
that. That's them controlling their borders.
Every country has that.
I don't know. It seems a lot of hyperbole there.
AD is disagreeing with
But that's good. That's why AD is here. Also, there's a thing here at the top. Has cancel culture been cancelled? And then they've got a picture of Johnny Depp there. But then they've also got J.K. Rowling. Like she has they're putting J.K. Rowling with Kanye West, who's called for the sort of Jews are evil and various other things. And why you got J.K. Rowling in that situation here? A person who has just done wonders for humanity and reading.
Are you being sarcastic, John?
No, I'm not. I think it's disgusting to put her with Kanye West.
No, a lot of people hate J.K. Rowling.
Oh, I know, but they're wrong.
Because of her transposition. I know they're wrong. That's not what you didn't even.
No, but I'm just saying. I think that is disgusting to put her up.
No, I don't
in that
think
context.
it is because she was in a way cancelled.
She was cancelled.
Well, she hasn't been cancelled really. I mean, what does cancelled mean?
Well, she's beyond being cancelled, but wasn't she? I mean, was she not allowed to attend some Harry Potter events and things like that?
She could invite. She can go any Harry Potter event. She owns Harry Potter.
No, she doesn't.
She created Harry Potter. She can do whatever she wants. But that's not the point. The point is she was vilified, but not righteously. Anyway, let's move on to the Telegraph, AD. Which came first, the chicken or the Islamist?
OK, so a Muslim charity
inside the newspaper,
accuses prisoner officers of Islamophobia after a jihadist attack. So data obtained by Mashallah, a Muslim charity, showed that prison officers are more likely to use force against Muslim inmates than other prisoners. So this is very interesting, because I'm sure that prison officers, a lot of them would be probably Islamophobic, right? I'm not saying they're from the most thoughtful minds in the country are coming to work in the prison office, but and they have shown that they are, and that they're using force against them. On one hand, I have no sympathy for people in prisons, so do what you want. On the other hand, I'm exaggerating a bit. I'm exaggerating a bit, but I mean, the cohort that is less, I wouldn't be thinking about them as much as other cohorts of the population. On the other hand,
men in prison.
Stop it, Lewis. But on the other hand, right, we compare something like this to Northern Ireland, when you had the political prisoners in the north, and they were given they wanted treatment as political prisoners. Margaret Thatcher ignored them. They went on hunger strike. They were still ignored. That treatment of them as terrorists rather than political prisoners made them into martyrs.
Okay.
Absolute martyrs. They were the best ally. Margaret Thatcher was the best ally of the IRA.
But so you think that the potentially Islamist prisoners could become martyrs?
Become martyrs if things like this continue.
Well, I think they'll become martyrs to other Islamists, but I don't think they're going to become martyrs to the wider British public. There are real concerns here. First of all, when you start reading some of the statistics about the percentages in the prisons that are made up with Muslim prisoners, 32% for one prison. Whitemoor is 43% of Muslims. ISIS, is it HMP ISIS? That's ironic. OK, 45% of the inmates are Muslim. And they're saying that, but 57% in that case of incidents where batons were drawn and various other indications of violence. Of course, that would suggest that it could be, just throwing this out there, that maybe the Muslim prisoners that they have, a lot of them there, some of them, and certainly some of these prisoners there for terrorism, might be a bit more violent.
Maybe. What they're doing is, let me tell you what they're doing. They're using the American black version, black versus white in American prisons, so many black people. They're trying to like get sympathy from a racial
Element.
thing.
As opposed to an ideology.
As opposed
Which
to...
is what Muslims
are.
And, follow.
And the other thing is that in one of the prisons, there's 43% are Muslim, and they've had batons being raised 55%. So only even though they're 43.
It's not even a huge discrepancy. By the way, Muslims are 6.5% of the British population.
Yeah.
So to have some prisons where you have nearly 50% or over 50% of the population being... And there's also previous reports that we've had the last few weeks about the issue of forced conversions, intimidation, and really the Islamification of the prison service. That is incredibly concerning when people are then released back into public spaces and have now arguably been, I don't know, there might be extremism involved.
Well, they're not people who are in prison for, like, bank fraud, let's say. These are people who've done bad things. We don't use, on GB News, we don't use the word Islamophobia. Because it's
a made-up word.
It's real. Well,
some people use it, but I believe it's a made-up word.
Every word is a made-up word.
Well, of
Maybe
course.
we should just hit the other non-Muslim prisons where there's more as well, so everyone's equally hit all the time.
Yeah.
And that'd be nice.
Well, look, I would say that this charity, actually, this might kind of backfire because it brings out information that maybe make people more concerned. I don't know, that's what I think. Anyway, right. Coming up, we've got the Times. We've got the Times, we've got the front page of the Times. We also have domestic violence shelters defying the trans court ruling. We've got Lewis, he's going to get naked. So come back, you'll enjoy it.
Do I have to?
On Thursday, the 1st of May, voters across England go to the polls.
In a series of council elections.
Mayoral elections. And one crucial by-election.
They'll vote on the local issues that matter to them and let the parties know where they stand.
We'll be here throughout the night.
Live around the country.
As the first results come in.
And from 6 a.m. on Friday morning, as it all becomes clearer, we'll be here to discuss what it means for you.
Vote 2025, the people decide, from 11 p.m. on Thursday.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, and as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/your say. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Welcome back to Headliners. We're going to do a few more front pages. Lewis has just been reading out some online criticism to AD. Is that some sort of mating ritual?
I'm negging her.
He's doing some negging there.
It's working.
He's very good at it as well. Lewis, let's look at the Times then, please.
The Times. This is the Times. £2.80. So it's less money than the Telegraph.
Yeah, you're very good at maths, aren't you?
Yeah, but the people always ask about that. They ask about the...
Yeah, they come up to you. Lewis, tell us the
milkshake tax lubes in broader sugar levy. Ministers to tighten rules on fizzy drinks, too. So what they're saying is they're making anything that has 4% sugar or more, they're going to tax it. They didn't say in this part of the article, they didn't say how much they're going to tax it, but it's going to cost money. Am I in favor of taxing sugar? I'm in favor of not eating sugar. I think sugar is death, even though I put a teaspoon of sugar occasionally. I don't think it's that bad for you, sugar.
Teaspoon. Well, you're eating a teaspoon, but of course some of these drinks have 20 teaspoons in.
Right. They have
people are eating drinking multiple drinks a day.
4% is if you have 500 mils. That's 20. That's 20.
Let's go down the maths.
That's 20.
What do you think about this, Adi? Now, of course, accusations will be made towards the nanny state. It's actually been a bit of a success doing this, having the sugar tax on drinks, because then suddenly all of the fast food places, they just were like, all right, well, now here's a non-sugar drink. And they don't taste that different, to be honest.
I think it's, on one hand, yeah, it is the nanny state, but on the other hand, again, I try to myself to stop sugar. I'm completely addicted to sugar. I'm on it and off it, and it's a roller coaster. So it is good. I mean, more and more studies are showing how bad it is, how carcinogenic it is. It's very aging for the face. But
stop putting it on your face.
Yeah. Letting Lewis lick it off. What am I saying? What am I saying? So it's an interesting one. I mean, we're in this, if the government, it's like cigarettes. If the government think it's so bad, why don't they just ban it? They don't. So they allow us to live in this half-nanny state where, like, you can if you want to, but it's going to be expensive.
Well, it's fizzy drinks. I think a lot of people get behind that. But now they're talking about, like it says here, milkshakes, coffees. They have some of them have a huge sugar content.
Lattes.
I think people will start getting a little bit upset because for some people, buying the sort of high street coffee is their little treat of the day. When you add another 50p to
Yeah,
it,
I calculated one year I spent about €3,000 on coffee.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised in terms of I used to do a similar thing on
And there's questions whether it's good for you. I agree with Aideen. I mean, I'm against the nanny state tax. First of all, they're doing it just to tax people. They don't care about sugar. They don't care. But sugar is not good for you. So you should make a decision not to have sugar.
Okay.
But sugar could come in a million different other things. You've got pasta is sugar and bread is sugar and potatoes.
Let's go to the Mirror. This is a story that is on the front page of the Mirror, but it's been in a bunch of other newspapers today about the BBC.
Yes, the culture of the untouchables, proven to the behaviour at the BBC, warnings to stars who abuse power. So they just looked into it and they found out that they don't have a toxic culture per se, but that people were let get away with stuff.
That sounds pretty toxic.
It sounds pretty toxic, yeah. But I suppose the standards have changed. The goalposts are constantly shifting.
Paedophilia is frowned upon now at the BBC.
Yeah, I think back in the day, even when I started off comedy, you'd be warned, don't be on your own with him, don't be alone with him. He's a bit weird, don't get a lift with him.
And then you met me.
And then I thought, wow,
he doesn't seem that bad.
He is. So it is.
But that's why you only will hang out with Lewis on air, because you've got so much evidence and we've got the cameras there. So we've got
my hands are in the air every second.
That's right. That's why we used to also have the guests closer together.
Yeah.
We've had to sort of.
This is too far away.
There's a strange little Lewis Schaefer sign.
Oh, yeah. You can join me on Twitter, Lewis Schaefer.
Yeah. He
on
can't
Twitter.
touch you.
On X.
Yeah. He is the untouchable.
Yeah.
But it's,
Have you heard of any BBC stars? Let's not talk about just sexual. There's abusive behaviour in terms of people get a little bit too big for their britches. They think, I'm on telly now. I can treat people like dirt.
I mean, considering who is attracted to working in television, it's not like modest accountants or anyone like that. The people who want to be in television. We have problems. We like attention. We like power. And I mean, but, you know, imagine being up the very top with all this corrupting power. In Ireland now, we had a lot of scandals in the television, but it was all hands in the cookie jar with money and stuff like that, and spending ridiculous amounts of money in the state television station. So I'm not surprised. I mean, it's like the House of Lords. You know, I mean, teachers have a higher rate of paedophilia than the normal population because teachers are attracted to that. But the Lords must be the highest rate of paedophiles in the world. I mean, it must be like 50% of Lords are paedophiles.
I don't know if that is
I'm just acting like Lewis now. Ridiculous statistics are becoming infectious. But yeah, so people in power use it. It happens all the time.
You are right about it.
That's why politicians are rotated, and we have to. Maybe we should start rotating people like the BBC.
I think the House of Lords will be. They won't like the paedophile accusations, but they will like the fact that you think they have power.
They do have power. No, Nadine is right. The fact is you're talking about men. Basically, they're not interviewing women, and maybe some women are bad.
That is not true. There are some incredibly toxic women in power.
Definitely.
It absolutely goes.
No, I'm just saying, but this thing is like they're asking about men. But the point is, any business enterprise, because there's men, in any enterprise, there's going to be bad men. But the fact is, this is the BBC, which everybody pays 171 or £4 a year. Well, I don't pay it, but you're paying for it. So if you pay for it, you think to yourself, well, I'd like to have a say in it. I'd like no taxation without representation.
OK, well, look, let's move on to the Telegraph. And people whose job it is to protect vulnerable women from men don't seem to understand their job, Lewis. Domestic violence shelters.
Where are we?
Story 5.
Story 5. So we're over here then.
Yeah.
We're over here. What did I do with it? This is story 5. Yeah. Domestic violence shelters defy trans ruling. Well, there was the trans ruling, and they said
it was actually the women's rights ruling, really.
Yeah, but it was in. But I don't think it had to do with everything. It just had to do with
women's rights. With
women, but it didn't say every enterprise in the
anything
country.
To do with women's single-sex bases in the UK now refers to biological sex. That's what the ruling was essentially.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. And then there are these five charities, and they run shelters for domestic abuse, and they're letting in trans, quote-unquote trans, whatever that means. They're letting in men who are dressed up as women.
Well, the thing is, Aideen, is that there are going to be victims of domestic abuse who are trans women, biological males. This has been sorted now in a court of law and by the Supreme Court, saying that when it's single-sex bases, that has to be for biological women. But there's nothing there to say that there can't be the creation of third spaces, similar with toilets, but in this case, to help victims of domestic violence who are trans, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's not easy to suddenly create a third space zone. It requires a lot of resources. I mean, has this happened a lot yet? The trans population is only 0.4% of the general population. I mean, this reminds me of a sort of Curb Your Enthusiasm when Larry David ended up in a domestic violence place, and they all rallied around him. I suppose you could take it on a case-by-case basis.
Well, not really. That's the point, is that Supreme Court said there is no case-by-case.
Yeah.
If you're a biological male, you're a biological male, and same if you're a female. There's conflicting messaging coming out here from these domestic violence shelters and doing it, you know, they do a great job. Sad that they, of course, need to exist. But when they're saying that they're firmly committed to supporting survivors of domestic abuse, including trans women, and then the next sentence they're saying, but they're going to continue to provide single-sex accommodation in full accordance with the law. Those are two contradictory statements. The point is that the Supreme Court has now done a very clear-cut ruling that doesn't make it conflict. That shouldn't make it.
Are they getting money from the government, from the central government?
They will be. I imagine most charities are.
Well, not J.K. Rowling, who then supports it herself.
Well, what about the male domestic violence shelters?
Well, I think there absolutely need to be.
There are no male defense.
I don't know if that's true.
My sister works in a similar line to this, and there are men, you know, gay men in relationships.
What about men? What about Louis Schaefer?
No, there are men. Of course, there are men who are victims of domestic violence. Also, victims of honor. You didn't see that. No, we're wiping the tapes. We're wiping the tapes. No one's going to know that. No one saw what happened.
I made a note of it, but I did enjoy it.
OK. Aideen, the Telegraph has Madonna being a colonialist.
So sponsoring an African child is now frowned upon. Critics say it's a legacy of colonialism. Now, this is very interesting. It's about a charity who stopped allowing people to sponsor children. So certain people who are actually sponsoring were told, no more can you contact the person that you're
Terrible.
sponsoring.
Like, save the children. So basically you give £20 a month and then you're going to get a letter saying, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, but this is worth £20 a month. Most people are so lonely. I would try to get the postman to send me letters. So why you know, you're thinking about, forget about those starving kids. It's the lonely
This is a
people.
plot of a very good movie about Schmidt, where he is a retired man, his wife dies, and his only real relationship in his life is with this child who he gives money to. But it seems that part of the reason why this has been shut down is because of complaints that it's somehow racist.
Well, the thing about it is, I wanted to sponsor a child when I was small, and my mother wouldn't let me for this very reason. And maybe in Ireland we have more of the post-colonial mindset of the victim of colonialism, but the problem is that if you have one child sponsored in the class and another child isn't, you feel those children are feeling injustices. So taking away racism or colonialism, I think it just seems unfair on the children that are getting sponsored when others aren't. And apparently there's a lot of jealousy created, a lot of upset. Some people will write lots of letters, like Lewis is mad to write letters. But, you know, some people mightn't have the time. So although it is a lovely idea, sponsorship, and it's fantastic, and I don't like people being criticised for trying to be lovely and charitable and decent. You should be just applauded for being decent. Anyway, there might be better ways of doing it.
There might
now,
be,
I'm open for debate. I mean, when I was sponsored by, a very wealthy man in my 20s, all my friends thought, oh my God, she's being repressed. But my Prada bag said otherwise. So sometimes we're telling other people how they're repressed.
The only writing it did for you was the checks, right?
Yeah.
Well, I sponsored a tree in a forest in Israel.
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
Yes.
Good, yeah. Does it write back to you ever?
No.
No, the paper is made out of that tree.
Fair enough. I'm surprised that you believe in trees, Lewis. We have the final section coming up. We've got a couple more newspapers, front pages. We also have some great stories. We have The Sun, there it is, no beer in Benidorm. We've got some fun stories, Eurovision overturning the ban on Palestinian flags. I think I'm going to just go rant for that one, so come back for that in 2 minutes.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Whilst the UK is going to be increasingly dry and sunny this week, parts of the Mediterranean are actually going to be slightly damper. Some showers to watch out for across parts of Turkey, and a brisk breeze running through the Aegean Sea will make it feel quite fresh for those Greek islands. A few showers in between the sunshine for parts of Italy, France and Spain as well, but it's parts of Portugal and down towards Madeira that are going to see some of the most unsettled conditions, some longer spells of rain and again some quite strong winds around, but away from there there'll still be some sunshine elsewhere.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest